Welcome to the Hawaii Fishing Gear Show. This is a special one we're doing right now. We're coming to you live from the brand new shop. The brand new shop opens up July 1st. We gotta first things first. Gotta get our studio set up. It's not completely set up, but we're working on it, and it should be done probably in a couple days. July 1st. July 1st is our grand opening, not our grand opening, our soft opening here at the new shop, Eva Beach Shopping Center. Studio is nice and big. It's a big space now. If you guys have any questions about fishing, please go ahead and drop them in the comments. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of an extended show today, probably about 30 minutes. So I'm gonna do my best to answer as many questions as we can right now while we're live. Thank you guys, everybody who showed up at the expo this past weekend. Big mahalo. Everybody was telling me, oh, but you guys' booth was the busiest one, so mahalo for that. All of our customers that came out. Eva Beach Fence Line 2 Fence Line Tournament. Those of you that were, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna fish. Guess what? Too late. Booked already. 100 entries already done. If you guys waited, tough. We're cutting it off at 100 because Eva Beach is only 3.3 miles of beach line, and we don't like clog them up, yeah? So 100 people, it's already booked already. All right, let's go ahead and check out some questions real quick. Let me make sure we got the multi-stream. Only get 3 viewers on Instagram and YouTube. Let's go. Okay, somebody said, what is the new address? It's gonna be 91-919 Fort River Road, Suite 103. For those of you who are familiar with Eva Beach, it is the old First Hawaiian Bank location. For those of you that are super familiar with Eva Beach and you've been here for 40 plus years, First National Bank used to be here. Phil's Variety Store was over here. Sloop John B's was this wall over here. But right now we are in between Loco Moco and Mr. Hot Dog. In the same shopping center where McDonald's and Long's used to be. What's up, Joe? Thank you for the congratulations on that. Do you guys have any conventional reel 10-foot? Conventional rods 10-foot? We don't have any 10-foot casting rods for conventionals. Yeah, now I see a bunch of questions coming through on YouTube. I'm gonna get to those in just a second. Conventional rods less than 12 foot here in Hawaii, not a big thing. So usually, if you're trying to find a rod locally for conventional reels, you're probably going to get stuck with a 12-footer, all right? And stunners, if you need a little bit more, send me a DM on that. I'll try my best to answer your question. So once again, if you guys notice, the backdrop is a little bit different on YouTube. We're coming to you live from the brand new studio and the new location. We just got it set up today. We got it all curtained up. All my mics are back up and running, and hopefully we'll be doing some auctions this week as well. Okay, I think we're all caught up on Instagram. What's up, King Vaughn on YouTube? Was the Outdoor Expo worth it for you guys when I saw you guys, you're cranking out shirts? You know what? I had a really good conversation with Bill, Battery Bill. That guy's really cool, by the way. We had a nice businessman to businessman chat. And he told me that, you know, the expo is not really about like making money. It's about marketing. It's about meeting people that not familiar with your store, you know, getting new contacts and things like that. But I tell you right now, all of our customers was all of our regulars. They just came to see us at the expo. And like I said, some people were telling us that our booth was pretty much the busiest one. So big mahalo for all you guys that stopped by. And hopefully you guys will share some love with the other booths that were showing up there. Okay, okay, wait, hold on a second. Here we go. How do you tie down a Seagate? That's not a bad question. Okay, so the Seagate conventional reel, what you're normally gonna do is you're gonna attach a cord, usually like a paracord with a little ring or something that you can clip onto. You tie that below your reel, not above your reel. You tie it below onto your reel seat. You can use like kind of like a little cinch knot. You tie it below your reel. This way you can clip on your rod and reel. We do sell tie downs for conventional reels on our website, but that's pretty much how you do it. If your reel doesn't have rod clamps or it doesn't have hookups or anything like that, all you do is you basically just tie a rope off to the bottom of the reel, and then you put a clip on, a loop with a clip. All right. If Owama are swimming from spot to spot, are they not gonna bite? I would say most of the times they're usually schooling. They're usually, you know, kind of hanging out in an area. You'll see them darting left and right. That's usually when they're feeding. A lot of times I've seen them just kind of standing in the water, like, you know, not really moving, kind of just moving with the current, swimming along. That's usually when they're not biting. I think when they're moving around, they tend to bite a little bit more. That's from my own personal experience. I'm not sure if other people have different opinions on that. Okay, does anyone in Hawaii use soft plastic swim baits with jig head for papio? Elijah, people have tried them, but I think whipping for papio with jig heads, that's kind of a pro level thing where you really got to know what you're doing in regards to how close you're getting it to the reef, what your area is like, so you're not getting hung up. Because those jig heads, even if they're imported, they're not cheap, and it's like you know, if you get stuck on the reef or stuck on seaweed or whatever, that's like, you know, what, $1.50 each shot. So not too many people like to whip for papio with jig heads, unless it's like the old school yellow and white feather ones. That's what more people tend to use. Okay, where can we DM you on the High Fish Gear page? King, if you're on YouTube and you guys want to reach out and get a little more elaboration on a question that you asked while we're live, send us an email, sales@highfishgear. Otherwise, you can DM us on Instagram or Facebook, highfishgear.com, highfishgear on Instagram. All right? Okay, is the Blind Mullet going to be making 3-inch copper or brass bells again? I think the ones that you might be talking about was one that we sold on auction. I think he did a zinc-plated brass, beautiful ringtone. Not sure if it's worth it for him because the materials are kind of expensive. All right, let's see what else we got coming in on Instagram. Here we go. You know what? Other people have asked me to use my beard hairs for fly making, and I've tried it, and guess what? The fish never bite. Okay. Where do you order? I don't know, Brother Jello. Try send me a DM. I'm not sure if you're talking about an epoxy for rod wrapping, but maybe we can look into if it's more people are asking for it. What's the best budget Ulua pole except nitro? Penn, Battalion, 2 Ulua pole. Best bang for your buck, under $250. It's a good, decent 50 to 80 pound test Ulua pole. It works pretty well. Okay. And half a day from Guam, Shaney. All right, been a while since I've been on the live. Let's check out what other questions we got. How do you clip on the 4-inch medium one-way slides, glow-in-the-dark beaded one? Oh, so King Von, there's a, basically where the coil is, on one side of it, there's a little loop that loops around the main part of the thing. All you got to do is you got to squeeze it together and it'll come off. And that part, that's the part that you wind your line around. If I had one to display, I'd kind of show you how it works. But hopefully that answers your question. Do you bend the bell? Do you bend the bell? I'm not sure. Oh, do you bend the bell wire when dunking on a bell buddy? Yeah, you will want to bend the loop part of it. You want to squish it together. The main idea is to have your bell not kind of sticking up at a 45 degree. You want it, the bottom of the bell to be basically flush with the horizon. You want it to be kind of like level like that. So your bell has access to ring. So with that wire, you got to bend it to get the bell just in the right position. All right. Do you guys sell power wrappers, Dremels? No. We don't sell them yet, but eventually we will be carrying the the slow rotation, the kind of like rotisseries that people call it for rod wrapping. We will eventually have them in our shop. Okay. Okay. If you want to freeze Owama for bait, do you guys salt them first or no need? I know that people do put a little bit of salt sometimes, but most of the times, most people I know, they will actually put wax paper in between. That kind of helps prevent the fish from sticking together and you don't get that live look. So a lot of times they'll basically just put a little layer of fish on it, wax paper wax paper on top, another layer, and that way they can kind of keep the fish from sticking to each other and losing a bunch of scales. Okay. Can you still catch Ulua with non-Ulua rod? Absolutely, 100%. People have caught Ulua with whipping pole, with spinning rod, with Ulua pole. I mean, you can catch Ulua with a lot of different things. Yeah, I wouldn't go. I mean, Ulua pole is probably one of the best things you could get. Deeper line capacity, stronger rod. It's built to handle the bigger fish if you ever do hook up to one. But yeah, you can still catch a Ulua pole with pretty much everything. I think my brother's first Ulua was on a 7-foot boat rod that he was using casting from shore. All right. Okay, let's see what other questions we got. Anyone? Oh, come on. Geralda asking for the gate code. No. Contact the DNLR, brother. Contact them via the phone. They'll probably hook you up with it. What is your most recommended fishing spot near Eva Beach? I don't necessarily lean towards different spots here in Eva Beach. I just tell everybody, go where you feel comfortable. There's a lot of public accesses that are along the beach, all the way from Pulo Rifle Range to White Plains Beach on the opposite side. I love beach accesses. I love the beach parks. Hallbush is not necessarily for everybody, but it is a good spot too. Okay. Second screen record. Okay, what is a good rod and reel for dunking in the 200? What is a good rod and reel for dunking in the $200 to $250 range? Let's see if we can break it down. Okay, so you cannot really go with the Penn Battalion, which is one of the rods that I prefer because you're already at $130. I would go check out the Daiwa Beef Stick. It's about a $60 rod. The 12-foot one is rated up to almost 6 ounces, which is a decent dunking rod. So you only got $60 on the rod. The reel, you could probably go with, if you still want to stick with a budget, the Penn Wrath is a full metal reel that's pretty solid. Maybe not the best one. You could probably go a little bit higher, maybe with a Fierce at about 100, 120. So you're still under 200. But you also got to consider when you guys get these setups, it's not just rod and reel. It's you got to get line, you got to get bell holder, you got to get bell, you got to get sand spike, you got to get hooks, swivels, all that stuff. So I usually try to leave a little bit of budget for all that extra stuff that you're going to need, especially lead. But yeah, Daiwa Beef Stick, Penn Wrath, Cherry. Okay. Getting into jigging and plugging, any tips? Don't give up. Don't give up too easy. I notice a lot of people get really amped up about jigging and plugging and things like that. And, you know, it's not you just go to the beach and you automatically catch. You got to put in the work. You got to try a lot. You got to throw out a bunch of times before you actually do hook up. And when you do hook up, bruh, it's usually a good something big. I guess my advice is basically just don't give up too early, and try a lot of different spots. Try to get yourself in good positions. Try different spots. Walk the beach. Get out and keep trying. Okay. What's the grade? I think we already got. You know what, King Von? I don't necessarily have a recommendation for that at the moment in regards to ultralight. Okay. How many secret whipping grubs in the beer? Nothing right now. Okay. Sorry, my phone keeps, it's pretty loose over here. Okay, how can I be? Okay, how can I be like the uncles at blank spot pulling up a Kule ever throw? If you go to some spot and you see certain guys hooking up like almost every throw where they're catching, that's not luck, guys. That is developed skill. That guy has been fishing that spot probably for longer than some of you young kids have been alive. They know the flow. They know what the schools look like. They know what colors work during certain times of the day. Sometimes they even pay attention to the temperature, the water conditions. They pay attention to a lot of different stuff. And also they got the technique down. Certain fish respond to like little wiggles or shakes and things like that on the rod. I would say if you really want to get that way, keep going. Talk to the guys there. Not all of them are stuck up. Most of them are pretty friendly, especially if you stay out of their cast, you don't cross their lines, and you be polite. How you doing, Uncle? Good afternoon. How you doing? Hey, you mind if I ask you, what color grub are you using right now? What kind of rod you get? Like, I saw you was doing that little twitch or something. How come you do that? You're like, sometimes the guys like to, they like to answer. They like to give information. And if the guys say, leave me alone, leave them alone. There you go. I would say talk to the guys, but just got to keep going, Best not to tie on your slide bait stopper. My personal choice on that one is going to be the Palomar knot. I love the Palomar because it puts two lines around your hard tackle. Not just one, it's two. All right? And the Palomar knot is one of those 100% knots. They say that the line will fail before the knot fails. Okay. All right. Jigging up. Okay, let's see. Oh. Okay, when are you guys going to be doing another auction? We hope to get back to auctions hopefully this week. That's one of the main reasons why I wanted to get the studio set up today. I didn't even have a chance to hang stuff on the walls and stuff like that. But we should be getting back to auctions, hopefully at least do 1 or 2 this week. Okay. When casting a taco leg from a 2-pound taco, what are some tips so you don't bird's nest? I think one thing is the legs don't have to be all the way long. But also you got to adjust. I think some people bird's nest when they're casting a big fat taco leg because you're not really accounting for the weight of the leg. If you got a big fat taco leg, that bucket could probably be 1 ounce, maybe 2 ounces. So now where you normally have a 7-ounce lead, now you're casting 9 ounces and you're casting it like it's 7 ounces. You're not adjusting for that extra weight of that big bait. So I would say maybe drop your lead down if your bait is getting a little bit bigger because you still have to cast out all that weight. That might help you if you're bird's nesting and stuff like that. Like I said, we're going to try to give you guys a little bit extended time today. We're already close to 20. How do you find Owama? I guess I'll just try to tell you the conditions that I'm familiar with. They usually like water that's not moving a whole lot. Someplace where the waves are constantly breaking. They like calmer kind of like coves and things like that, where you have a little bit of shelter from the breaking waves. But it's not like stagnant water like a pond or something. It's mostly where you have a nice little flow of water. It's nice and calm, and it's not waves crashing down. Check out bays. Check out place that has a little bit rock shelter on the outside. And the best way to kind of find where the Owama is to drive around the island and look for the hand pull action. The guys where you have a nice group of 4 or 5 people and they all out there with the hand pull, that's a sure sign where the Owamas are. I'm not going to tell you where I heard Owamas is because I'm not going to do that. We don't do that on our show. But that's pretty much the thing. Is to just get out there. Where the waves is constantly breaking and splashing up on the rocks, that's not go to Owama grounds. Go someplace to the island where it's nice and malia and nice and calm. Bays are usually where they tend to congregate and stuff like that. All right. Somebody asked, Penn Carnage 3 versus the Nitro. Nitro's got that old school feel. It's got a little bit more bend in the tip than the Carnages do. I do like the fact that the medium heavy, and the heavy are consistent. The medium is close to the medium heavy. The medium heavy is close to the heavy, and we're talking about the Carnage to the Nitro. And the heavy action Carnage is like beyond the heavy action Nitro. All right. Okay. Okay. Let's see. See what. Yeah, Owama season is right around the corner, guys. So pay attention. Pay attention. Okay, here's a good somebody replying to that. Owamas are usually sunk in the sand, or they're schooled together. Look for small cigarette shadows in the water. That's Owama. Owama is usually sandy areas too. Do you ever run braided on your conventional low post setups? No. Putting straight braid on a conventional reel that you're not using on the boat, nobody does that here. And anybody who does it, you're asking for trouble. You're asking for trouble because braided on a lure pole, so maybe some people do it. Nobody that I know does it, okay? And if somebody I know does it, I'm going to tell them, boy, what are you doing? Monofilament on your conventional reels for a Hawaii-style shoreline casting. I know some people out there, they say they dunk with braid. That's your business. I'm preaching to the masses, telling them no. When you're dunking, monofilament is the best case for you. Some people fish someplace where it's always sandy and you're not battling the reef when you finally hook up. That's probably where the braid is going to be the best. But if you go with monofilament, you can fish those sandy bottoms. You can fish the rocky bottoms. But if you get braid, you cannot fish both. You're going to have a hard time on the rocks because that braid is going to get bust up. Okay. Let's see what other questions we got. And okay, that's a great, thank you for pointing that out, Alejo. Braid on a conventional reel, in most cases, is only used for backing, where you have braid on the first part of the spool, 100 to 150 yards, and then you have the top shot all monofilament. What is better, flies or grubs? If you want more bites, regardless of how big the fish are, grubs is probably going to be the best for you. I would definitely go grubs before I go to flies. If you're just starting off, start off with grubs because you're going to get more bites with grubs. They might be smaller fish, but you'll get more bites and more action and more variety with grubs than you will flies. Flies, you got to keep it moving. It's a little bit more, and then you don't get as many bites, but when you do get the bites on the flies, usually it's bigger. They're bigger. How do you determine what size hook you use for a grub? Okay, most curly tails, the standards are going to be like the premium grubs that, say, for instance, Campania lures, completely hooked lures, and everybody, a lot of the local companies sell. They're usually 2.5 inches. BKN size 12 is the standard. All right. BKN size 12, where you just hook the head. You can use shank hooks like the 189s. We actually have bait holder hooks from High Fish Gear that we sell. Size 6 for the Campania, size 8 for the Izuo Brothers brand. But you kind of just size it to the grub. If the grub is smaller profile, you go smaller hook. If the grub is bigger profile, you go bigger hook. But size 12 on a standard premium grub is pretty much the way to go. Hey, David, want to let you know we did get your package. And let's see, somebody was asking a question. What's your favorite grubs? I don't really have an opinion on that right now. Okay. When hooking live bait, do you prefer through the nose or through the back? Depends on the fish. And depends on the grounds. Most of the times I like through the back if I'm slide baiting or if I'm casting a small fish out. I like to hook it through the back. Seems like it's a little bit more meat and less chance for it to fall off the hook. That's my personal preference. Everybody else has their own. I've seen a lot of people do bridle when you're sliding into big open water, where you're basically just hooking through the nose with some sort of a floss or something like that. Okay, let's see what other questions. Let's see. Measure the shank to the grub, body, not the tail. Okay, no one's. How to keep taco blinking. Okay, hey, that's a good question. Okay, let me paint a scenario for you guys real quick. If you have just gotten, somebody said, here, brother, here's one fresh taco. They get them in one Ziploc bag, and it's still that brown, blinking, fluttering color. Smack the taco, and the taco changes color. Okay, if you want to keep that taco, changing the color as long as possible. What gets that taco to stop blinking is cold or heat. A little bit too warmer than the ocean, colder than the ocean. Now, people do want to keep the taco like below, you want to keep it in a certain zone temperature-wise. If that plastic bag with the taco in it touches ice, forget it. It's going to stop blinking almost immediately. All right? You do not want that taco bag to come in contact with ice. What a lot of people do is they want to keep the taco in a cooler so it doesn't get too warm. They'll put down newspaper or they'll put down cardboard on top of the ice in their cooler. And then they'll put the taco on top of that. If you're planning on using the taco like immediately that night, within a few hours, you don't even need to put it in your cooler. You can just keep the taco out, cut them up, string them up, let them dry out a little bit, cast them out. However you do it when you got the blinking taco. But keep it away from the coldness of your refrigerator shelf. If you put a blinking taco on the shelf of your refrigerator, that cold glass or cold metal touches that bag of taco, it's going to stop blinking. Give it some separation, some sort of insulation. Put some newspaper down, put some cardboard down, something that makes it so it doesn't touch. That's gonna help keep it blinking for longer. Okay. And somebody's saying, for everyone asking questions about fishing, Dianda, brother, this is what this video is all about. Ask the questions. There's no shame. Ask the same question people have been asking. That's what we're here for, brother. Okay. What's a good starter Ulua setup? I usually recommend Pen Jig Master, spool bit 40-pound test. You can get yourself a medium heavy nitro. Pick yourself up a medium action carnage. That's good to go. And money bags, somebody's asking for spots for Ulua. We don't share spots here on this. You just got to get out. If you don't know where to go fish, start with the beach parks. Start with your beach parks. Know your regulations. Make sure the beach parks you can fish there. Most of them you can, but certain ones are blocked off. Just get out there, start with the beach parks, and then explore different places. All right? Okay. Is Daiwa Sea Line 50 good for bait cast and light slide? Yes, that's probably one of the better 40 to 50-pound test reels. Daiwa Sea Line, by the way, unfortunately, I got word the Daiwa Sea Line is being discontinued. So if you love that reel, stock up on ones you can, and people still have them in the stores. Okay. Joe is asking if we're going to be carrying diving gear. We might be carrying basically just real basic stuff, some fins, some masts, some tree prongs and stuff like that, but not like free diving kind of stuff. And while I got your attention, and we're already at 28 minutes, I told you guys I'd give you almost a full 30. If you guys live in town, Westside Dive and Tackle, which is a good friends of ours, they're up in here in Kunia. They opened up a Honolulu store. I don't have the address committed to my memory. If you want to check out their social media, they do have the address posted on there. There is a new dive shop from a store that's been around for many years here on Oahu. Westside Dive and Tackle, now with a new shop in Honolulu. Okay. And by the way, I want to say I didn't have a whole lot of we don't have the whole shop moved over here, but this is the first live from our brand new studio here in the new store, which opens up July 1st. July 1st is a Tuesday. That'll be the first day that we're open here. July 11th, 12th, and 13th, that whole entire weekend is going to be our grand opening weekend. The Ewa Beach Fence Line to Fence Line tournament is going on that weekend. Somebody asked if we're going to have a sale. No. No sales. Just come by, check it out. But there will be something special planned for that Sunday when we have our weigh-in. It starts at 10:30. It goes on to 11:30. If you're in the area, I definitely recommend, especially if you've been around the shop quite a bit, definitely make it a point to mark July 13th on your calendars. I'll be explaining a little bit more as we get closer to the date. But we are less than 2 weeks away from opening our new shop. And this is the first live from our brand new studio. Our old studio was 8 by 8. This baga is 15 by 15. It's almost twice the size. Hey, yeah, Anson, we got plenty of stuff lined up for you tomorrow. All right, good dunking reel size for 10-foot dunking rod. 8K pen. 8K pen, Battle, Fierce, Pursuit, Wrath. All 4 of those reels from the pen line in the 8K is Cherry for the 10-foot rod. Okay? All right, there you go. I gave you guys 30 minutes worth of answering questions. If 26 people on Instagram, 63 of you folks on YouTube and Facebook, could you guys just take a quick moment right now, leave a like on the video. When you leave a like on the video, it helps us reach other people. And if you're watching later in the day and you guys had some questions about fishing, please, I encourage you to drop them in the comments. We do our best to respond to as many as we can, as many questions as we can. All right, everybody. Aloha.